So what's up, Knicks Nation? Boy, do we have an action-packed show. The Knicks go 3-0 for their best week of the season. The Knicks, of course, got it done at home. We'll talk about the one thing about Mike Brown's coaching that's very different and effective for the Knicks thus far. We're going to touch on one of the key reasons why Mikal Bridges is balling. Okay? And Mamdani, to help his campaign, posed as a cheap seat Knick fan. We got comment of the week, word of the street, and much more on this episode of This Week Inside the Knicks. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Karan Pierre, the Objective Fan, and I'm straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest, and you know the vibes, man. Listen, welcome to the podcast, and this is episode 3. No special guests today. I know I've been doing special guests for the past 2 episodes. Salute to my man Ron. Salute to my man Mike. If you didn't watch those episodes, you can go back and watch it. Of course, this is This Week Inside the Knicks for the 2025-26 season, okay? Just so you know, we're covering all the hot topics between November 3rd to the 9th. And boy, was it an action-packed week. The boys in orange and blue got the job done. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Some brief announcements before I start. I want to start the podcast off by taking accountability, something that we're going to talk about later with these Knicks. So I call it the birthday gate. I want to apologize to my co-hosts, Ron and Mike. I had my information incorrect on the birthdays. AI is not perfect, and I created this bot that was supposed to be a Knick AI birthday bot, and it didn't work. So I've been putting out the wrong birthdays for a while now. And I've been adjusting it on the podcast because one thing about This Week Inside the Knicks, this is a platform that is serious. You could come here. You know, I've got the sources. This podcast is all about sources. So going forward, I have eliminated the birthdays from the show. And I will be looking up for more ways to honor the past Knicks, former and current. And you know how we always show love. That was my intention, was to show love. And I never want to misrepresent the Knicks. So I just have to start by taking accountability and letting you guys know that this will never happen again. Okay? So right now we're removing the birthdays from the show. But we still have special highlights, okay? We still got other things we're going to announce. By the way, we got an action-packed schedule. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, the schedule should be in the community section by the time you see this video, or if not, it will be in the community section by noon. Okay. And so you could go there and see what our upcoming shows. I think the next show we're going to do is possibly the Magic. Well, no. Yeah, the Magic game on the 12th. Okay. So, and then of course, Call Up Show Friday, the Knicks and 10 show. No worries. I'll get to the schedule a little bit later in the show. Just wanted to get through these updates. I think that's all I got to announce. This podcast is dedicated to documenting the Knicks 365, 7 days a week. If you give me 50 minutes, I give you the Knicks. This podcast, This Week Inside the Knicks, is also for Knick fans in a hurry. Okay, so every Monday morning, you can go to thisweekinsidetheknicks.com, the URL that's right below, and you will be able to see the site that I'm going to take you to now. So this podcast is also connected to a blog called thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. I'm going to get to that source there, but let me get to the homepage so we can start from scratch. I want to show you how to navigate the page. So when you get to thisweekinsidetheknicks.com, you'll be on the homepage. If you want to get to a podcast article, we have the audio podcast also available on the website. If you're not listening to it via audio now, but you can scroll all the way down to latest news and you'll see episode 3 of the 25-26 season. Or you can just literally click on the 2025-26 season tab and that'll take you to the podcast as well. So multiple ways to get there. Bam. So when you get there, feel free to rate us 5 stars. Okay. And by the way, on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on, definitely rate it 5 stars, hit the like button, whatever the podcast or the platform accounts for, please support the pod. Okay. And if you're on YouTube, smash that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. So this is what we're going to be working off of. Now, there's a lot of sources here. Like I said, I put things on the screen. So my apologies once again for Birthday Gate. Won't happen again. And you'll see a brand new program added soon. But we're going to start this podcast with the special highlights. Of course, the Knicks record through this stretch, it was 3-0. Now, I pre-wrote this because I knew we were going to beat the Nets. Okay? Salute to the Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to give them a salute for being, a second-rate organization. I'll get to them in the New York report. They actually made I would say a spontaneous appearance today, but I'm gonna keep it pushing. So we 3-0 during this stretch. One of the best games I feel like right now, one of my top 10 games, by the way, 82 nights. This is my mock-up. Journal should be here later today, hopefully, or by tomorrow. But I would, because in here we have a section called Top 10 Games. I would definitely rate this as a top 10 game. And for sure. And by the way, before I move on, I'm going to jump out of research mode. As you see in the corner, I got the pre-order now. This is the final day for the one night special, 15% off discount off the sell price. Okay, but we'll get to that later. I just want to let you guys know today's the final day for that. But I'm going to jump back into the pie. Let's keep it pushing. I'm going to start with the special highlights now. New York City, we announced a new mayor, Zoran Mondani. He won the race, but prior to that, Mondani could be spotted the opposite of courtside, in the rafters at a Knicks game. And I was trying to see if I could get the article pulled up, but I'm not logged in over here, but that's fine. I could just tell you what he did. So he posed as, a Knicks fan in the rafters, and people did recognize him, but it was fun. It was a cool little troll that he did, and people really appreciated it. And I think these events like this help propel him to office. Now, this is not a political show, so I'm not going to spend much time on it, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Let me see. Oh wait, hold on. I might could show you it here. Yeah, okay. Mondani poses as a cheap seat Knicks fan. Okay. And I might let's see if this little footage will play. If not, I'll move past it. But yeah, this is some footage of him here. See? All right. He's with Murrow. Salute to Murrow, man. And they're in the nosebleed seats. And that's so cool. And he took a picture. So yeah, salute to Mondani. Representing the Knicks. Hopefully he's genuinely a Knicks fan. Okay, we don't need nobody faking the funk. I'm gonna move on from the politics stuff. Politics and basketball just don't mix. So I'm gonna keep it moving. As far as the New York report, I guess I could start off there. Right now, the New York Jets, they got their second win in a row. Salute to the New York Jets. Honestly, I wasn't gonna watch the Jets because they just made the move for Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, getting rid of those guys, and I thought that those guys were a staple in the Jets defense, and they moved off of those guys, and I'm very disappointed because I'm like, damn, I know this season is a wash, and I know you want picks for the future, but how is that going to impact your defense? But man, I'm telling you right now, it didn't matter. Today they got the victory, 27-20. There's this young kid, damn, I can't remember his name. I'm mad. But there was this young kid on the defense that had a bunch of sacks. He was playing really well. I try to get the name of him for the next podcast. I don't feel like doing too much research right now. But the Jets, 2-7, 2 in a row. Could this be a sign? Now, the only problem with the Jets and the Giants is the same thing, 2-7. They struggled. They lost their last game. So yeah, it was definitely a bad look. But I tell you what, now is the time to tank. Okay. Yeah, we want our football teams to win, but yeah, I just is now is not the time. And then of course the New York Rangers, they're 7-2 overall, but they're 0-6 at home, and they're more comfortable on the road. Rangers need to tighten it up, and I'm pretty sure 500 hockey is not going to get them to the playoffs. That's really it for the New York report. I'm gonna add the lowly Nets who got smacked by the Knicks. Little brother, I call my man Ill Will from the Ville, and because he's a Net fan, even though of course he's a Net fan when they came to Brooklyn, but I was telling him I'm watching the Nets, and I'm like, none of their young guys look like stars to me at all. The solid young players, they got a lot of solid young players, but those guys are not stars. Okay, and so that's it for the New York report. I'm gonna move on to some of the Knicks stories of the week. And then once again, I'm not gonna read through all of these, but I will go over the rest in the rundown, giving you an idea of what took place during the week. Right. So I'm gonna start off with an article that I should have probably covered last week with Ron, but because of time, I kind of moved past it. But this week, we got a little bit of time. Okay. And before I unpack this article, so this is what we're going to be talking about. Mike Brown, the one thing he's doing differently, and coaching, his impact is early and effective thus far. But we're going to get into that, what that is. Of course, the Knicks beat the Nets. I will review that game. Mikel's new role. We talked about Mondani on the Knicks, power rankings, word on the street, and more. Okay. So just as a reminder of the topics we'll get into, I'm going to jump back here. Pow. So Carmelo Anthony responds to Phil Jackson. And Phil Jackson, if you're living under the rock, we talked about this in the Knicks rundown last week, of that Phil Jackson blames Melo in his new book. He blames Melo for the Knicks' downfall. And so Carmelo Anthony said, I'm sick of these folks, right? This is what he said on his 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast. That was bugged out. Come on, bro. What are we doing here? As a man, if I was that much of a hindrance to you, why didn't you have a conversation with me when I was there instead of bringing me in your office and showing me Michael Jordan clips of the triangle and telling me what not to do in the triangle because he did it wrong? This-ish, he told me. Instead of doing that, let's have a real man conversation. Melo, listen, I want to go in a different direction. Now, of course, Phil Jackson's book fractured his relationship with Carmelo Anthony. And the name of the book is Masters of the Game, okay? If you want to check it out. I didn't get it, and I don't plan on getting it. But at the same time, Melo, to me, handled this pretty gracefully. And I feel like Phil Jackson is passing the buck once again. Like I felt like he did back during that time. Let's keep it real. He was offered a lot of money to take the job, and I honestly don't believe that Phil wanted the job. But sometimes, if there's a job and you're content on where you're at, but then they offer you a lump sum of money that you cannot refuse, you're probably going to take the job. Now, you probably don't want the job, but you're just there for the bag, and that's what happened with Phil. He didn't travel with the team, didn't do no scouting, was barely at the games. How can you run a franchise if you're not going to do what Leon Rose is doing? The complete opposite. And you know what? I'm going to give a big time salute to Dolan here, because when Dolan brought Phil in, this is when Dolan decided to be hands off. This is Phil's running the show. But some of the moves that Phil Jackson made when he got here, he fired Mike Woodson and the entire staff. Okay, this is Mike Woodson that took us to 54 wins and to the second round, a place that we hadn't been in a long time. He took us there, and that's the first thing he did was fire him. He hired Derek Fisher, a coach that never coached before, right? Then midway of the 2015-2016 season, right, he fires Fisher for Kurt Rambis. Then later he hired Jeff Hornacek. And where are these guys now? And he wanted to install a triangle offense. But like Melo also said on this podcast, you got us running a triangle offense, but why didn't you coach if you wanted us to run it? Clearly, the guys he brought in, though Derek Fisher played, of course, in the triangle and all that stuff, but these guys weren't competent enough to coach it. Right? June 25, 2015, he drafted Kristaps Porzingis, which definitely was met with a lot of resistance before we knew he could ball. But then he has beef with Kristaps Porzingis. And then Kristaps Porzingis asked out of New York. Whose fault was that? He traded J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert, two key pillars to the team that helped us. You got rid of them because you wanted guys to fit in the triangle. Last time I checked, Carmelo Anthony was not making the decisions. You were, Phil. Dolan gave you the keys to the franchise. And guess what? You dropped the ball. I'm going to move on from this, man. But if you want to check out these articles, they're in the Knicks stories of the week, okay? And I'm going to move on because I could be on Phil Jackson all day talking about his debauchery as a general manager. Now, before we continue the pod, I do have to put you on to 82 Nights, a basketball fan's companion. The first of its kind. Not only is it a stat tracker or journal, man, it is going to be your regular season guide throughout 82 games. You'll be able to keep notes, keep up to date with stats. Not only that, 10-game reviews, a fan engagement section to document your at the arena experience. Listen, go get yours now. The stat tracker bundle also gives you access to the 82 Nights Club, where you get access to some more stuff on the back office, like the stat tracker extended cheat code, which basically would be me giving you all the stats. All you have to do is fill it in. Be sure to pre-order your bundle now, exclusively on This Week Inside the Knicks.com. The next article I want to get into is Charles Oakley. Right? Charles Oakley was in the court battle with MSG. We talked about this before briefly. I'm not going to spend much time here, but because we covered this case, I have to, put a stamp on it, so to speak. So the ex-Knicks star must pay MSG $642,000 over the court battle, which he sued MSG. And MSG, of the Post reports, it's a legal score for them. Right. And the reason why he was ordered to pay this amount of money is because he was found culpable of deleting text messages. Right. And these text messages came up before that he couldn't provide messages. He was deleting the evidence, so to speak. OK. And so the 61-year-old power forward, who also filed a defamation lawsuit, against the arena firm and its CEO, James Dolan, in 2017, is accused of sending the company high-priced attorneys on a wallet-busting goose chase, on or around July 10th, 2024. Oakley's counsel discovered that all the text messages sent to or from his phone prior to February 2022 had been deleted. The court papers filed Friday in the federal court, And so because of this, MSG initially wanted $1.7 million, $1.5 million. But listen to this. They were paying basically $1,700 an hour for their attorneys. But the judge said that was too much money, right? And so Oakley winds up suing, but then winds up having to pay MSG. I'm just reporting the news. To all the channel members, I have an unfiltered thought. It's called Oakley, I Hear You, but check that out. If you listen to that video, it'll draw a lot of connections to this. But it's sad that, Oakley won't be around the Garden no time soon. That's going to be a fact because now that he has to pay this lump sum of money, I don't think that he will ever be back in New York, unfortunately. Let me keep it moving. I think there's a couple of more articles I want to touch on, but definitely continue to smash the like button, especially if you're on YouTube. If you listen to this as a premiere, salute to everybody that's in the building. And I'm gonna make this show a little faster. Once again, we on this week inside the Knicks.com. All right, and I'm just going through some of the Knicks stories a week. I think that's it for this section. I do have some smoking hot topics that I want to touch on now because it's kind of linked to the Knicks stories of the week. So here's another situation that I think that is very important. Josh Hart reveals nerve damage in shooting hand. Knicks forward Josh Hart is suffering from nerve damage, okay? As he revealed. And he previously acknowledged prior to training camp that the offseason procedure on his right finger didn't sufficiently address the issue. Now he's providing more details on the injury and suggesting it's more wide-ranging than previously reported. According to Katz and Edwards, not only is the injury impacting the fourth finger of Hart's shooting hand, but it's also causing him to lose feeling in his middle and pinky fingers throughout the day, right? And it's probably a process until I get the feeling back, Hart said. The hand will be what it is. I'm working on shooting all the time. Well, I tell you what, he's doing a damn good job shooting. He's shooting pretty well in these last couple of games, right? And that'll come along. I'm not getting surgery, okay? Now, what are the implications here if Josh Hart doesn't get surgery? This is where I like I said, I didn't do much research into the injuries like I normally do. You guys know I normally do my due diligence on it, but because it's so vague, and one thing I don't like is the players reporting on their diagnosis, because a player doesn't know as much as they think they know, even if their doctor told it to them directly. How many times has a doctor told you something and you can't even remember the goddamn word that describes your condition because you're not in the medical field? Right. So I would love to see on the report or a news article come detailing exactly what's going on based off some sort of imaging test or something so we could move forward. Because right now, it's like war stories. A player could make himself seem as though he's more hurt so he could appear to be more valiant. I'm not saying that Josh Hart is capping, but how bad is the nerve damage? Is surgery a must? Because here's where my concern is. If he does not get the surgery, right, can he do further damage to his hand? And I think I do have another article somewhere talking about how surgery could be 3 months off. It's somewhere here. I'm not going to pull it up. Let me see if this is it. But all you got to do is go to thisweekinsidetheknicks.com episode 3 and you'll be able to see. Oh, I'm not logged in. I'm not on the right account. This article has it here, though. When you get the chance, if you're subscribed to the Post Plus, I am. I'm just not on this account. But the Knicks are left riding the Josh Hart roller coaster, okay? This article explains it. I'm going to move forward, though. And there's another article that is like a Knicks story of the week that I feel or find to be pretty important. So this article right here, Daily News. If you have the Daily News subscription, this is another good read. Hopefully I'm logged in for this. Anyway, Mike Brown trims the Knicks rotation down to 9 players and is paying off. Does that seem familiar? 9 rotation. Who ran a 9-man rotation and forgot that they ran a 9-man rotation that brought them the success that they had? I believe that was Coach Tibbs. Nonetheless, Mike Brown has definitely considered trimming his lineup down. And we talked about this on the pod too, about him playing too many guys. And I think the sweet spot is the 9 guys. But Yabu's played every game still. So Yabu technically hasn't been cut from the rotation. But I do think that there's a core 9 that Mike Brown's going with. So after the 0-3 road trip, Brown tightened his lineup to 9 players, and the result was back-to-back wins at Madison Square Garden. The last 2 nights were the best I've done for them in terms of rotations. They kind of, sort of knew when coming out or going in who was going to play together, Brown said. So, and this is exactly what I said. I don't know if Mike Brown is listening to the show. I doubt it. But this is exactly what I said. The guys need to know who they're playing with, right? The guys need to have a certain rhythm, knowing that, okay, around the 6-minute mark, I'm going in the game. So now I can mentally prepare myself for battle. And so it's a process of trying to get familiar and with what they're trying to do on both ends of the floor, also with the rotation patterns that we're using. Salute to Mike Brown. I think that the rotation is, even though I don't like all the small guards, clearly Towns and Mitch are going to be staggered. And so they're playing the center spot. And then OG Anunoby and Josh Hart are playing power forward. That's just the way it's working. I'm not mad at it because when OG Anunoby goes to the power forward position, Mikal Bridges can be a small forward. This lineup, so salute to my man J-Tap and the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server crew, right? But he put up a comment during the chat. By the way, this is why you guys need to become members so you can get access to the members only chat. We go in, and I'll talk more about that towards the end of the show. But one of the things that he said was double big. And I put, well, yeah, for 2 minutes. And of course, I was just pulling his chain. But at the same time, it's true. The double big lineup doesn't get enough time, or not enough time, but they don't play a lot of time together. The reason for that is because Mike Brown is all about movement of lineups, and just like he is all about movement of players. So your position is not set in stone. I'm getting ready to break down the Bulls game, but one of the things I like the Bulls game, the Nets game. One of the things I liked about the Nets game was the Jordan Clarkson and Brunson lineup. I thought that lineup, to me, showed how impactful they can be while not having the best defense between those two, but you could throw Mitchell Robinson out there with them, right, or OG Anunoby, and still maintain the defensive presence around them because both of those guys are committed to defending. So I like it. I just had to give a special nod to the 9-man rotation. Another update I'm going to do, kind of going off script, but one thing about me, when I say I'm going to come back with something, it may take me a couple of weeks, but I'll get it. I think it was my man Randu, salute to Randu. He asked, or he made a statement that Mitchell Robinson was offered a contract and he turned it down. I said I need to see a source for that. Well, I'm responding with a source. The Knicks and veteran center Mitchell Robinson did not engage in any advanced discussions about a potential contract extension prior to the 2025-26 season, according to Ian Begley of SNY TV, who is skeptical that a deal will come together during the regular season. Okay? And still assuming he's healthy, Robinson should have plenty of suitors if he hits free agency, which is a big concern. But the most likely path for Mitchell Robinson hitting free agency and then seeing what the market is like. They're going to be teams with cap space. If he's healthy, he's going to be very attractive on that open market. And he says maybe the Knicks will surprise me and get a deal done this season. We'll see what happens, but definitely check this out. I'm going to add this to the website, the blog, and you'll be able to read it. Okay? But I just want to get that update that there is no contract that was offered to Mitchell Robinson. That's not true. All right? So let's keep the show moving. I think I'll jump into the Knicks rundown now. Now, as I'm jumping into the Knicks rundown, make sure if you're listening at this point, you support the channel, okay? Or support the pod. Hit that like button, okay? And 5 stars and definitely subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel, okay? I'll talk about the perks of joining a little bit later in the show. Okay, so So here's the Knicks rundown. Knicks rundown is basically me giving you all the news articles, the headlines. So you can check them out on thisweekinside.theknicks.com. You click on episode 3, you'll be able to see all of these articles. Okay. So most of these are located in the Knicks rundown section. And some of these are also located in the Smoking Hot Knicks topic section. Okay. So the first thing is Precious. He signed the deal with Sacramento. Salute to Precious Achiuwa for getting the deal. Some of us were hoping the Knicks could revisit that conversation. The second thing is Mitch was not hurt in the game against, I believe that was the Wizards. In one of the games, the Wizards or Timberwolves, I don't remember the game, Mitchell Robinson appeared to tweak his ankle. But it wasn't the surgically repaired ankle. He's not hurt. Everyone rejoiced, okay? Josh Hart admits that his emotions get the best of him. Something that we as Knicks fans know for a while. And he's going to do his best of trying to control himself. Josh Hart also says that Jordan Clarkson is phenomenal. Okay. Knicks hit Mondani, the mayor. This is before he became mayor, and Trump over tweaking their logos. And both Trump and Mondani took those logos down. Okay. That's all for the Knicks rundown. If you're interested in seeing more information about these stories, you can go to the Knicks this week inside theknicks.com. All right. So I did game reviews now for if you want to, if you're curious, if you're looking back at this show and you want to hear about the games, I'll try to link in the description of this video or on the blog links to the game reviews I do. I do game reviews for every game. So the Wizards game, Timberwolves game, you definitely could check those out if you would like. I'm going to talk about the Bulls game. I keep saying Bulls game. The Nets game, sorry. It's really late. I'm recording this pod really late. No excuse. I'm still sharp because I'm a vampire. But I got my mind on the Bulls. I don't know why. I guess I just want to beat them again. But we're going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets, okay? And let me just make some adjustments so I can make sure you guys are seeing the box scores clearly. Okay, bam. That should be good. So this game, honestly, I put in the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server that this is a practice game. This game is practice, okay? And the Knicks, they, to me, did a really great job. I mean, continued domination, 40-point first quarter. I mean, if this team is firing at all cylinders, there's nothing you could do to stop them. Now, we know the Brooklyn Nets are 1-9, so we're not going to get carried away like we did this against a world beater team. But I will say this. The Nets have been really good in first quarters, okay? I watched the last game the Nets played before this. I believe that was against Detroit. Just want to fact check that. Yeah, the Pistons, right? I saw this game. So in this game against the Pistons, the Nets had an 8-point lead in the first quarter, right? And the Pistons are a really good team right now in the Eastern Conference, okay? And so the Nets was doing great. And this kid, Clowney, right? I know he only had 4 points this game, but he was a bona fide bucket in that Pistons game. He had like 14 points in the first quarter. Right? He hit 4 threes in the first quarter. And in this game, he finished with 19 points. So that's because the Pistons tightened up their defense and, began to go on a run. Of course, Michael Porter Jr. was phenomenal. Michael Porter Jr., let me tell you something. He's showing more range in his game. And it seems like the Brooklyn Nets are the small forward whisperer. You know how we say Mike Brown is the point guard whisperer? It seems like small forwards go there and they become phenomenal 20-point plus scorers. And that's exactly what's happened with Michael Porter Jr. Granted, he's on a bad team, but he's definitely shown a little bit more diversification in his game. I love how the Knicks get Towns going early in games. You could tell that that's like an initiative, though they don't have a set playbook that they run plays out of, just concepts. The concept is Mitch, or Towns rather, get on the block and operate from the top of the key where he can do his Metal Lock Lemon impersonation that I always be bringing up. And I like him doing the dribble handoffs way better than Mitch. So it just was working way better. Everything looks really good. I mean, the balance in the first half was so impressive. Like, everybody had 14 or 13 points. I think OG and Bridges had 13, while Brunson and Towns had 14. Let me just check my notes. Make sure I'm cooking. And I'm telling you guys right now, I got it right here. Brunson had 12. OG had 14. Towns had 14. Bridges had 13. Our core four is the best core four in basketball. You got better top threes. Like OKC has a top three, right? A lot of teams got three, but four. First of all, we got the best fourth option in basketball, which is Mikal Bridges. I don't think no team has a better fourth option in basketball. You could try to point them out. You could try to boost up other teams' players like OKC. Cleveland doesn't really have a. I mean, if you want to give Cleveland the big four, give it to them, because Allen is an all-star. But I think right now, I would take our big four over Cleveland's big four, though they're really talented, because Allen is not playing at an all-star level, right? He's playing at a good level, but not at an all-star level. OG Anunoby looks like an all-star two-way player, looking like he's defensive team, first team this year. So, and then of course the Knicks dominated the class. I know we finished this game 46-38. If you want, I could give you some, I could do stats all day. I journal all the time. I'm keeping track of like 50 stats, okay? So I could stat you to death all day. We improved to, I think we're 2-0 against teams sub 500. Hold on, let me fact check myself. Let me get on the right page. Just listen, you get this journal, man. It's a lot of sauce in here. So against, below 500 teams, we improved to 3-0 in terms of dominating the rebounding matchup differential. We improved to 6-2. And last year, I stay on point, y'all. I stay on point. See that? Get the 82 Nights journal, by the way. You'll be able to do the same thing. And I'm going to show you how to keep track of stats and notes and journal and document the season. If you're a diehard fan, why not? Last year, we were 35-10 when we dominated the rebounding matchup. So this team is really dominant when we dominate the glass. Also, too, shooting the ball. The Knicks, we did a pretty good, decent job. Great, not decent. 45.9% from three. In the last, I want to say 3 games. I'm going to pull it up because, I got it in my 82 Nights journal. This is what we'll be doing on the, and I'm going to do the schedule after this too. Perfect segue. But so this is what we're going to be doing on the Knicks in 10 show. So in the last 4 out of 5 games, we eclipsed the 40% mark. And anytime we shoot over 40% from 3, we are 3-1 this year. When we shoot greater than 37.5%, we improve to 4-1. So these guys are knocking down the 3 ball, and we lead the league in corner threes and catch and shoot threes. This team is phenomenal, man. I mean, when we're shooting the ball like this, I don't think no one could beat us. But let me see if I could give you more from this game. This is just me journaling. At this point, I consider this a great practice game because it gave us the opportunity to work on our craft against a team that wasn't going to provide much resistance. We also in the first half got to see the 9-man rotation with the guards. I normally don't like it because I like size and height, and I want another 6'9" guy. This is why we keep talking about trades. But Mitchell Robinson and Towns they're anchoring the defense. They look really good together. They look really good apart. I don't think you rock the boat. I think that, Landry Shamet earned his way into the rotation. 21 minutes, he 8 points, 2 of 5 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. He's playing good defense. He also had 3 assists. I didn't even get to the assists. Knicks have 31 assists. Do you want me to tell you what we were last year? I know I throw these stats around, but assists is one of the stats I'm big on. Last year, when we eclipsed the 30 assist mark, we did it 28 times. We're 24-4. So when the Knicks is passing that ball, man, I mean, how are you going to stop these guys? I already think that we have the best offense in basketball. We had a 40-point quarter. They said that this was our 6th 40-point quarter of the year. Last year, we only had 14 of those. So we're on the pace to blow past that mark. And I don't know where we rank in offense tonight, but this game is an offensive booster. And then I'm going to go over the Grizzlies game in a second as well. Ooh, I forgot to do this in the beginning of the show. I'm going to come out of research mode for this one, but R.I.P. the great Lenny Wilkens. Definitely a legend. Spent some time with the Knicks. I think he was at the Knicks a season. Hold on. I'll do him the due diligence. Usually I don't like to work on the fly like this, but I'll pull him up because I can't remember how many years he was with the Knicks. I do know he was with the Knicks and, he passed away. The news came out today. Oh, wrong keyboard. And, I feel bad, man, because, Lenny Wilkens was yes, he had old age, but, you don't want to hear about no one passing away, no matter if they're, how long they live. He was 88 years old. Okay. And, there we go. Let me go ahead. Let me go to Wiki. Let's see. So just one season, the 2024-25 season, he was with the Knicks. So once a Knick, always a Knick, even if it's just 1 year, man. Big time RIP. Salute to Lenny Wilkens, okay? And the last thing I talk about from this game is definitely, this is our 11th win in a row against the Nets. I completely messed up my notes. I'm trying not to journal in my mock-up journal. So I'm taking these little notes because when I get my official journal, I have to transcribe everything there, and I don't want to, write too many things over. But that's pretty much all from this game. I thought it was a good practice game. And sometimes you need practice games just to get you right. I'm going to talk about the upcoming schedule really quickly. Boom, I hope you like the little cool effect I just did there. But I will be on Still Knicks Fans Weekly tonight. Definitely check it out. 9:30 p.m. And then on Wednesday, I will be covering, the post-game show for the Knicks versus Magic, the post-game call-up show. Okay, and that will start at not 1 p.m. That will start at 9 p.m. No, that will start at, 10:45 p.m. My fault. Because it's right after the game. Then we got the Knicks in 10 show, which will be Thursday, the 10th. And that will be at 9 p.m. Okay? So this Thursday, make sure you're there. And all of these videos, I probably upload it. And so you'll see it today when you go to the live section. You'll see all the upcoming shows. And then, of course, the call-up show this Friday, 10:45 p.m. This will be a kind of a post-game call-up show. But, you could bring your topics of what you would like to talk about. And I believe we got the Heat. So we should have some Heat trolls call up. And, salute to the trolls. We need them. And we're going to deal with that. Okay? So that's the schedule. I'm going to go back into the show. And I'm going to move like super fast. Because I want to try to keep this under An hour. All right. So I'm going to preview really quickly. I'm not going to spend much time on this, but I did watch the Memphis OKC game to get a gauge of what was going on with the Memphis Grizzlies. I know there's a lot of turmoil in Memphis, y'all. A lot of turmoil. And, Ja Morant was not getting along with the coaching staff. I don't know if they're feeling a lot better, but Ja Morant's numbers is down across the board. When you look at Ja Morant's stats, he's only averaging 20 points, right? But his shooting is horrific, 37.9% from the field. And he's shooting from three. See if I can get the three ball. 31% for his career. So for his career, he's not a great three-point shooter. But this year, he's shooting 12.8% from three. Ja Morant struggling. He's also playing a lot of lazy defense, too. In that OKC game, he fouled out. And he was just doing too much on defense. Like, he's so small. And so he uses force for leverage. And that's going to be a foul every single time. So OKC right now is, Zach Edey's out, and he more than likely won't play the Knicks game. So because of that, they only have one center, and that's Jock Landale. So JJJ, Triple J, he plays the backup five, and Aldama plays the backup five. Even though Aldama is a 7-footer, he's not a big guy at all. Like, he doesn't play like a big guy. He's out there shooting threes, playing on the perimeter. But you can see Scottie Pippen Jr. is out. Not just that, they got a whole bunch of guys out. Brandon Clark out. Scottie Pippen Jr. out. Okay, Javon Small out. Ty Jerome, the guy who they took from the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's also out. So, but listen, even though those guys are out, the Memphis Grizzlies bench averaged 50 points a game. They sub dudes in, these guys getting buckets. Their rookie Cedric Coward can do everything. This dude in the first quarter had 8 points. I believe he had 5 rebounds. I'm going to tell you. 5 rebounds and 2 assists in the first quarter, and he comes off the bench. Memphis normally struggles in the first quarter, which will hold well for us because, back to the 82 Nights Journal, in the first quarter, when we lead the first quarter, so if they come out slipping and tripping against us, we are 4-1 when we lead after the first quarter. So if these guys come out slipping and tripping like they usually do, we definitely going to win this game because they literally fell apart against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But they started a strong start. They had an 8-point lead. They was up 33-25, and they was shutting SGA and the boys down. They was so hyped, like, oh my God, we're looking so good. But guess what happened? Third quarter came, and when the third quarter came, that's when the game changed. SGA had 13 points in the third quarter. By the way, SGA averaged 12 points in the third quarter. In the second quarter, Memphis had a 19-point lead, largest lead of the game. And so third quarter came, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're just picking up from where they left off last year, dominated the third quarter, wind up catching up, and then beating them by 14 points. Memphis Grizzlies, they got too many injuries, but they still are good on the offensive end. Defensively, they struggle guarding size. So Towns should be able to cook them. Jock Landale is not going to be able to guard him, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is interesting because he does a pretty good job defensively, especially on the perimeter. So I'm curious to see how Cat deals with that. But this team, they're not the greatest team. They're struggling right now. They're 4-7. And definitely a team that can be beat. The glass, they're not the greatest rebounding team, especially with Jaren Jackson Jr. He's not a great rebounder. And them missing out on Zach Edey, who is a monster for them on inside, not having him really hurts him. They're averaging 43 rebounds a game. So we averaging about 48. That's a +5. If we win this rebounding matchup, we should win the game. Another thing too about we should be worried about Memphis to start the game against OKC. Their first 17 basket, all 17 was assisted upon. They have a 68% assist percentage, which is top 5 in the league. I do my homework, y'all. Listen, salute to me. Listen, if you're not subscribed, you better subscribe. I'm giving you the source here, right here. So that's what to expect against Memphis. But honestly, they're 4-7. I'll tell you their road record. They're 1-2 away. It's on the screen. So I think they're going to get cooked. Knicks 6-0 at home. I expect us to be 7-0. But that's all for this game. Definitely look forward to watching it. And I don't think I'm going to do a post game. I might, I got to talk to Maxine. But the next post game show will be the Magic game, okay? Now, I'm going to jump straight into the flagship topic. There's a lot of topics I would like to discuss, but I really want to keep this within the hour's time. So I might have to skip those. So we'll jump into flagship. And the flagship topic is Mike Brown, right? The one thing that he's doing right now that gives us an edge, something that Coach Tibbs, I feel like he struggled with in his whole 5-year tenure with the Knicks, because Coach Tibbs, let's just face it, he is someone that has a crew. He has a clique. But here is what Mike Brown is doing differently. He's going to set you straight how Mike Brown holds the Knicks accountable. Salute to Mike Brown. Doing one hell of a job. We did the call-up show last Friday. We were 3-2. Everyone was panicking. Oh, my God, what are we going to do? Oh, no. And then we won that Bulls game because the Bulls game was the Friday. And so it might have been a call-up show before that. But I told you guys, relax. It's early. It's only 5 games. Fast forward 4 more games, 4 wins in a row. And now everybody is like, yay, the Knicks are going to win the championship. Oh, my God. And this is why we have to take our time. Slow it down. But this job that Mike Brown is doing right here, based on accountability, hella impressive. So 4 coaches across 9 seasons in Minnesota prepared him for the next chapter. And then the change came after his first year in New York. Out went Tom Thibodeau, familiar face Towns from Towns' Timberwolves days, and came in Mike Brown, ready to challenge habits and raise ceiling on a team with championship ambitions. The experience is always different, Towns said after practice, but Mike is different from any coach I ever dealt with, and this system is different from any system that I ever dealt with. But every coach has their different quirks, and that makes them who they are. So that quote to me from Towns, very, very interesting, because we know that Towns complained about his role. Mike Brown, and we're not in the locker room, all we have is his reports, but you can see from the players' interviews that they're genuinely excited. You could tell that this team is not capping. The chemistry is great. When Karl Anthony Towns had the poor body language and he was looking all sad and we were like, what's going on with Cat? I knew that it was just frustration in the moment. But he also was being serious about not knowing his role. But what he had to learn about Mike Brown, that he's different from any coach that he's ever had. And one of the differences that present itself is that Mike Brown is willing to listen. You could go have conversations with Mike Brown. He's going to make the adjustment. What we doing here, Mike? Clearly, I'm telling you right now. Preseason, Towns in the corner. Looking doofy like Sengun. By the way, Sengun looks really doofy in Houston. If you ever watched the Houston Rockets, I probably watched like 4 Rockets games. He's doofy in the corner trying to post up. That's what Towns was doing in preseason. Have you seen Towns do that in the regular season? No, he hasn't. You know why? Because Mike Brown made the adjustment, because I'm pretty sure there was conversations that, listen, I don't want to be in the corner. That's no man's land. I do my damage from the top of the key and elbow. I need to be there. So that's why you see, yeah, Mitch may set screens sometimes, but Towns is doing a lot of the controlling the flow of offense, dribbling the handoffs from the top of the key. That is Towns' strength. That was an adjustment. Mikal Bridges, and you can check out this article if you have a daily news subscription. Mikal Bridges emphasized that Brown sets you straight, every single guy, but without hostility. It's with accountability and respect. This is what Mikal Bridges said right now. Remember, Coach Tibbs, documented by a couple of people, he has his clique. If you're not in the Coach Tibbs clique, you're not going to get any Coach Tibbs love. There were players that said that Tibbs never even spoke to them. Mike Brown, and this is well reported, that he is a good communicator. He's looking to get input from coaches and players. Brown says leadership means giving hope while defining reality, confronting players honestly, but always within a constructive framework. That's what you got to do. You got to build your guys up. Some coaches just tear guys down, call them out in the media. And if you got to depend, because players have different mentalities. Not everybody is the rough, rugged, and I'm going to take it. Some guys you got to handle with delicate gloves. Some guys don't like to have certain, things said, right? Some, different things motivate different players. And one thing I'm noticing about Mike Brown is he's willing to adjust and adapt. Accountability in real time. Brown doesn't wait until the film sessions to correct mistakes. He'll pull players aside mid-game, even stopping during the dead ball to explain issues directly to them. Was Tibbs doing that? I don't know. Jalen Brunson knows that he holds everyone accountable right then and there, which prevents the bad habits from snowballing and keeps the focus sharp. Importantly, Brown doesn't need to yell to get his point across. His calm but firm approach resonates better with the veteran-heavy group. Right, you don't got to yell at me. You don't got to ignore me either. And of course, Brown, he credits Greg Popovich. Salute to Mike Brown, learning from the greats. I think Greg Popovich might be the best coach of all time. I know a lot of you won't agree on that. Want to debate me? Become a channel member and debate me in the Discord, in the NBA chat. Right now, not doing that. But he learned from Greg Pop and Steve Kerr, shaping his philosophy. They were the best communicators. I've been around. I don't think you can over-communicate. He took their principle, and that clarity eliminates confusion. Now, proactively, he addresses questions before players even have to ask. Transparency builds trust, and the players know what's expected, okay? And, the accountability, being 100 with the guys, it doesn't look like they have cliques. All those things are important. It's also translating way faster than Tibbs. Because look, last year, Tibbs had a new team, right? So even though Tibbs was the coach there 5 years, last year is like dealing with a new team. You have Towns, you have Bridges, you have new elements to the team. Important parts that you have to acclimate, even though OG Anunoby's still fresh. He only came and played, 30 games? So under Tibbs' regime, we were 5-5 after the first 10 games. We already eclipsed the 5-win mark with Mike Brown. These guys are buying into the system, and that is translating to greater success. Holding guys accountable, playing guys less minutes, having an open line of communication is benefiting this group. When you watch them play, and I haven't really pointed this out, but it was something that I noticed. The Knicks, they don't look tired on the floor. If you watch the Knicks play, besides Mitchell Robinson when he first came back, those guys are not winded, man. Look at the minutes. 29 minutes, 28 minutes, 17 minutes, 28 minutes, 27. Mitch getting 17 minutes is incredible, bro. Salute to my boy. Mitch getting 17 minutes, still getting 8 rebounds, still getting 2 blocks. Mitch is acclimated in the offense, something I could have mentioned. He's getting the 2 baskets a quarter. He's averaging half of what a starter would give. Trevor, you're listening. So Mitch has been giving us production on the offensive end. And the reason why is because all of these guys are looking for him. And it's a beautiful thing. So the guys can play hard and do what they do. How many bench points we had? 31, 36, 38, 43. 43 bench points. Bench again an opportunity. Now, I know it was a blowout, but still, it counts. It's the record. That's just the way it works. Mike Brown's incredible, man. I'm gonna keep it pushing though. So I'm a speed rush through this part. We talked about the power rankings last week. We already knew we were gonna fall. Last week we were in the 4th spot. We slid all the way down to the 11th spot. But you know what I'm curious? Now that we won these 3 games, right, in a row, with a chance to add the Grizzlies to the list, because this comes out, I believe, on Wednesday. So if we were to beat the Grizzlies, thus winning 3 games in a row since the last list and improving our record to 7-0 at home, I think that might boost us up on the power rankings. I hope it does. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's the power rankings. We'll keep tabs on it. Well, and we'll talk more about that later. I'm going to spend a little time on the comment of the week. Salute to my man, Joe Curry. I appreciate all you guys. Sometimes, I see something, I just clip it and I just put it on the blog. So the Knicks lost their 2nd consecutive game on the road. Okay. And my man Joe says, can we please trade Cat and a player to Memphis for Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson? I want to comment on that. It's ironic we're getting ready to play them. I'm good on Ja Morant and I'm good on Jaren Jackson. OG Anunoby's playing way better than Ja Morant right now. That's a fact. Ja Morant looked at the numbers, 12% from 3, 28% from the field. That's not going to get it cut in New York. Then you're going to get Ja Morant, Joe, and you're going to put him next to Brunson? Yeah, I don't think that that's a good idea. Jaren Jackson is a guy who I like. I feel like he's one of the better power forwards in basketball. He's a good defender. But Jaren Jackson will never be on Karl-Anthony Towns' level. Granted, he's a better defender than Towns, but Towns is a better player. Towns rebounds. He's one of the best rebounders in basketball. He's the 2nd best center in the league, if you ask me. And well, I'm gonna say 3rd because you got to give it to Wemby. If you want to give Wemby the 2nd spot, I could give Wemby the 2nd spot. I do think he's the best center in the Eastern Conference. Karl-Anthony Towns is. So I know you were probably upset, and I think this was after they lost their 2nd consecutive game on the road. But hopefully, Joe, with some time, you can change your mind and you see that the boys in orange and blue, they're working and progressing. But I don't think that trade is a great idea, especially looking at the numbers that we looked at. I'm going to jump into Word on the Street. Now, before we get to Word on the Street, I do have to take the time to introduce you to the channel membership. First off, I want to give a big time salute to all the channel members that rock with me now. I do appreciate all of you guys. Now, you should consider joining this YouTube channel because it comes with a lot of cool perks. The first thing you're going to get is access to the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server, which is a private members only server where you can extend the conversation with me. If you're feeling the content and you want to talk some more, look no further than getting inside of that Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. We talk about the Knicks 24/7. Not only that, we talk about all other sports. And we talk about the Jets, the Giants, the Yankees. Listen, it is a fully functioning 24/7 Discord where you can go in and express yourself on a wide range of topics. Next, we have, of course, every member on YouTube gets the loyalty members and badges. It's the best way I can describe, you know, or it's the best way I can tell who you are. Anytime you comment on shows or you comment in the comments of past videos or polls or things of that nature, I will be able to respond right away because the gold, the gold, the green, the blue, the red, all of those stars stand out and all of the stars are the same to me. Of course, you get access to members only live chats anytime I do a 10 keys and I'm focused on the content and you want to also contribute. This is the best way to be a part of the show when I have it locked off exclusively for members only. I have a lot of members only content from the unfiltered thought to the objective fan hoops, which is me recording when I hoop. Uh, Plus, I do members only lives. Right now, we have the Fantasy League, the Knicks Tape Madness Cup, which is going down right now. And you don't want to miss out on more opportunities to be a part of things on the channel, especially for members. So all you have to do is click that join button and you will get access to these perks. Not to mention a discount on the merch and the discount on the 82 Nights of Basketball Fan Companion, Stat Tracker, and Journal. Not even to mention that. So it only makes sense. Why don't you go ahead, hit that join button, especially if you're a subscriber. I look forward to seeing you in the members only section. So word on the street, basically, if you're new to the pod, it's where we go over different surveys and polls that I put up there asking Knicks fans how they feel about things so we can get an idea how Knicks fans feel at this point in time, okay? So I'm gonna start here. The Knicks have 6 more home games. This was at the time remaining on this stretch. What will their record be at the end of it? Okay. So, and this is, like I said, during the home scan, not counting the first 2 games. This is during the second stretch of 7 straight home games. Honestly, looking at where we at right now, we have 2 more games. No, 3 more games. So we have 3 more home games before we go to Miami. Okay. On the road and at the second of the home and home. Okay. I'm going to say this. I think we can actually win out. And I'm usually not the most super I don't want to say overconfident. I'm going to say I always try to give wiggle room, because in science we say 99.9%, right? So I try to always give that percent chance that it's not going to work. So I would normally go 5+ wins. But based on the way we're looking right now, and I saw Memphis play, I saw Orlando play, I think we could win those games. And we owe Miami. So I think we have a realistic chance of going 7-0, 6-1. I could see any of those alternatives. 408 votes, 43% agree and say 7-0. 5+ wins gets 44% of the vote, and then 4+ wins gets 11% of the vote. Okay, and 2% of the negative Nancy's, probably haters and trolls, said below 500. They're wilding. Anyway, what's the most impressive aspect of the Knicks offense thus far? 370 votes. I'm gonna give you the choices. The first choice is the crisp ball movement. The second choice is efficiency from 3. The second choice is efficiency from 3. The third choice is the increase in bench points. What say you? And then there's also an other option. I'm going to say, this is tough. I think the efficiency from 3, but it honestly may be the Chris Ball movement. So because I think we're undefeated. No, we're 3-1, 4-1 when we have 30 assists or more. But I think we're undefeated with the 3 ball. I could be off. Let me just fact check that really quick. In my 82 Nights journal, by the way. Right? Okay. I'm gonna keep plugging the journal, man. Go pre-order just now. This is the last day for the sale. I had it on sale for a minute. And go get your copy, man. So I'm pulling up the 3 ball right now. And we're 3-1 when we shoot 40% or more. that's what our record is when we're shooting at that efficiency from the three ball. I do got bench points though. I think we're undefeated when we get more than 37.5 bench points. I could check that. Sorry, I keep plugging the 82 Nights Journal, Sports Fan Companion. I'm sorry, I keep going here, man. I mean, it's just so relevant to all the conversations that and I love opening the book. I always find a reason to just open it and check it out. Yeah, we are 4-0 when we get more than 37.5. So it probably is the bench points too, but that's what it is. 53% say the bench points, 38% say the Chris Paul movement. Okay. And the final poll, I actually dropped this yesterday morning. Is it time for the Knicks Nation to abandon the trade Mitchell Robinson narrative? What say I? We did a call-up show on this, by the way. Go check it out on the channel. It was episode 47 of the Knicks call-up show. We had an interesting conversation. Oh boy, it got crazy. I'm gonna say yes. I think Mitchell Robinson played his way into us abandoning the conversation. But that's all for this pod, man. I want to give y'all a big time salute. I went a little over an hour. I try to edit it down, but that's all I got for you on this pod. Make sure you get this is the mock-up, but make sure you get the official copy of the 82 Nights of Basketball Fans Companion on sale now. Join the channel and you even get a bigger discount on the journal. I look forward to seeing you on the future shows. And until next time, as always. Oh, man.